My utmost for his highest. Author Oswald Chambers, first printing 1935, this one 1992. The burning heart. Did not our heart burn within us? Luke 24:32. We need to learn this secret of the burning heart. Suddenly Jesus appears to us, fires are set ablaze, and we are given wonderful visions. But then we must learn to maintain the secret of the burning heart, a heart that can go through anything. It is the simple, dreary day with its commonplace duties and people that smothers the burning heart, unless we have learned the secret of abiding in Jesus. Much of the distresses we experience as Christians comes not as a result of sin, but because we are ignorant of the laws of our own nature. For instance, the only test we should use to determine whether or not to allow a particular emotion to run its course in our lives is to examine what the final outcome of that emotion will be. Think it through to its logical conclusion, and if the outcome is something that God would condemn, put a stop to it immediately. But if it's an emotion that has been kindled by the Spirit of God, and you don't allow it to have its way in your life, it will cause a reaction on a lower level than God intended. That is the way unrealistic and overly emotional people are made. And the higher the emotion, the deeper the level of corruption, if it is not exercised on its intended level. If the Spirit of God has stirred you, make as many of your decisions as possible irrevocable, and let the consequences be what they will. We cannot stay forever on the Mount of Transfiguration, basking in the light of our mountaintop experience. See Mark 9:1-9. But we must obey the light we received there, and we must put it into action. When God gives us a vision, he must transact business with him at this point. We must transact business with him at this point, no matter what the cost. We cannot kindle, when we will, the fire which is in the heart resides. The Spirit bloweth and is still, in mystery our soul abides. But tasks and hours of insight willed can be through hours of gloom fulfilled. Am I carnally minded? Where there are envy, strife, and divisions among you, are you not carnal? 1 Corinthians 3:3. The natural man, or unbeliever, knows nothing about carnality. The desires of the flesh warring against the spirit, and the spirit warring against the flesh, which began at rebirth, are what produces carnality and the awareness of it. But Paul said, walk in the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh, Galatians 5:16. In other words, carnality will disappear. Are you quarrelsome and easily upset over small things? Do you think that no one who is a Christian is ever like that? Paul said they are, and he connected these attributes with carnality. Is there a truth in the Bible that instantly awakens a spirit of malice and resentment in you? If so, that is proof that you are still carnal. If the process of sanctification is continuing in your life, there will be no trace of that kind of spirit remaining. If the Spirit of God detects anything in you that is wrong, he doesn't ask you to make it right. He only asks you to accept the light of the truth, and then he will make it right. A child of the light will confess sin instantly and stand completely open before God. But a child of darkness will say, oh, I can explain that. When the light shines and the Spirit brings conviction of sin, be a child of the light. Confess your wrongdoing, and God will deal with it. If, however, you try to vindicate yourself, you prove yourself to be a child of darkness. What is the proof that carnality has gone? Never deceive yourself. When carnality is gone, you will know it. It is the most real thing you can imagine. And God will see to it that you have a number of opportunities to prove yourself the miracle of his grace. The proof is in a very practical test. You will find yourself saying, if this had happened before, I would have had a spirit of resentment. And you will never cease to be the most amazed person on earth at what God has done for you on the inside.